Hi there, this is Dani. The channel is You and Me Living Free, and today I'm going to address the question that has been asked many times over these last few months, and that is, why don't you ever go east? So I travel in and out of Kansas City. I travel a month to 2 months at a time, and then I go back, and every time my plan is to travel for 12 months. It's been 8.5 months. Every single time I have gone west. So the question does come up, why don't you go east? Well, I thought I would do a little pros and cons of east versus west, and in some generalities and just in my experience. I'm not bashing on the east or anything at all. There's something for everyone, and we all have our own priorities. We all have our own likes and dislikes and all of that. The main reason I haven't come out east until now, I am on a trip east now, as you'll see in the upcoming videos. But the reason I haven't come out east so far is the main reason is because it hasn't called to me. And so when I quit my job and decided to take a year off, part of the whole journey was I felt stuck in a lot of have to in life. I need to do this, I have to do this, I should do this, blah, 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 blah. And I decided that if I was going to take this year off, that I would not do anything I didn't want to do, anything that didn't call me forward. So instead of life being kind of pushed into things that I didn't really want to do, or, we all do in life, but I got to a point where it was my job and it was a lot of things in life I didn't want to do. So instead of being pushed into stuff that I need to do or should do or whatever, then I would only do things that called to me. I would only do things that inspired me, that called me forward, all of that. So that's why I haven't been out east, but I am here now. And so I thought I'd make a little pros and cons list about why for everybody, just for general information. So number one, it hasn't called to me. And I think that for cons list, let's do people. People is probably my biggest con about coming out east. If you look at population maps and you look at the populations on the east third of the country and on the west third, or even third of the country, and then you can save them Midwest for sorry Midwest, you're just not my favorite. But they do have the Great Lakes, they do have some things. But anyway, if you look at populations on the left and on the right thirds of the country, there's a huge area out west that just doesn't have very many people. And that's typically where I'm going. On my last trip, I did some time in California. We're getting into a lot of people there, obviously, but tremendous areas out west with no or little or no people around, right? This is very appealing to me. When I even to drive out east is a lot more people. It's a lot more towns to go through and a lot more traffic, and not just traffic when you're in the metro. Like, Phoenix probably has 8 lanes of traffic when you're driving around Phoenix, but it's completely different when you're driving around Atlanta, because Atlanta might have the same 8 lanes, but Atlanta traffic is, not only is it worse, but it's like, even when you're out of Atlanta, for example, just because I just came through Atlanta not long ago, even when you're out of Atlanta, you're still on a 3-lane highway with a lot of traffic all the way to like Macon, Georgia, and like past. So not only are the city centers full of people, but the in-between cities are full of a lot of people. So there's a lot of people for driving. And there are less free places to camp out east by far. And most of the places that you do find that are free aren't especially close to anything you really want to see. For me, I'm a very big beach person, and when I think of the Southeast, I wouldn't have even thought of going to the Northeast because it's almost winter, and the Northeast holds zero appeal in the winter for me, for sure. I like it warm. So when you're traveling out west, a lot of BLM land, a lot of national forest land, all with places that you can camp for free. Out east, I have been doing almost exclusively Cracker Barrels. And here's why. Very little BLM in national forest land. Again, if you are in kind of a national forest or whatever area, a lot of times you're just not close to where I actually want to be. In the West, you can be 20 minutes outside of Yellowstone and be on BLM land. Like Yellowstone, like everyone wants to be there, or a lot of people want to be there, but there's BLM land close. I was just in Sedona, 10 miles from town, and you've got tons of BLM land, right? There are a lot of places out west, all through Utah and northern Arizona, tons, right? And come out here and there's hardly any. The second thing is there are campgrounds, but a lot of them are booked. A lot of the good ones are booked, and a lot of the ones that you have the spots that you really want, like at the beach. Do I sound like a broken record? So lots of more free places. Honestly, if it weren't for Cracker Barrel, who consistently always lets me park there, I always call first. Between a Walmart and a Cracker Barrel, I'll usually pick a Cracker Barrel first, because Walmarts are more variable. Cracker Barrels, even if they're not in the best part of town, they're not terrible. Walmarts can really go, you know, Walmarts are in good parts of town and bad parts of town. They're all over. Cracker Barrel tends to, I've never pulled into a Cracker Barrel and then left it because I didn't feel safe or felt really bad vibes or anything. There are plenty of Walmarts that I have pulled in and not felt comfortable and left. Also, there are so many Walmarts that will not let you camp overnight, that will not allow sleeping overnight, especially in coastal areas. Yes. I'm editing my video and I realized I never finished my sentences. If it weren't for a Cracker Barrel, I don't think I would have been able to successfully have this trip out east at all. So I am very indebted to Cracker Barrel. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Cracker Barrel. What else? Traffic, people, hasn't called to me. You know, I think that's it. Those are the biggies. Now on the pros list, okay, because there's never anything all negative or all positive about any situation we're ever in. We know this, right? Positives. Positives. I just thought of another negative though. Let's do that first. Another negative is this. There aren't a lot of those BLM land is also good for getting away from people, getting away from town, and just having a few days to be to myself, to clean out the van and reorganize, to have space to myself, to do all those kind of things, to have space for introspection and privacy. And those things come with the BLM land and with the free camping. So it's kind of part of that. Now for positives, okay? When I am out east, I can be at the beach. The beach, that's one positive thing. Georgia, Florida, so many beaches. And I know Alabama and some of the others have beaches too, but the best beaches I think are probably Florida. But you know, we have tons of beaches, so that's a plus, tons of beaches. Also, where I am now is so centrally located that I can have Wi-Fi so easily. And out west, where you don't have as many people and you have some remote areas, getting Wi-Fi can be such a challenge. Where I am now at a Cracker Barrel, I have a Starbucks right across the parking lot, and in the next parking lot over, I have a Panera Bread. So two great places for Wi-Fi, and the library is like 4 miles away. They're really nice library. So getting Wi-Fi is no trouble. And I do love that. I love having access to Wi-Fi because not only can I go do my work, I can do my YouTube stuff, but I can also, last night I did all my work and everything and it was still early, and I sat in the Starbucks parking lot and I turned on HBO on my computer and just watched a couple of shows. Like, I hardly ever get to do that when I'm out west on BLM, any of that. That never happens. So that's a positive. What else? Cell coverage to go along with the Wi-Fi that's easy to find. Cell coverage. I almost never don't have cell coverage. And you know, if you are out here alone, as a female especially, and just for life, we're so attached to our phones. Our phones do so much for us. So to be in places where I always have cell coverage, that's a big plus. Also, there's always a Walmart around. When you are in populated areas, there's always a Walmart. The reason I love Walmart is because the prices are cheap and it's very consistent. When I'm out west or sometimes in desolate or isolated areas, the prices go way, way up because it's harder to get, goods out there. It's harder to transport, harder to do everything. So I get it. But I could go for miles and miles and miles, even hundreds of miles out west sometimes without having a Walmart or something, just to get my basic needs, like all those basic things that you need. Sometimes you can get them in smaller stores or whatever, but they usually come in a markup, and even 40% markup, 50% markup, and more. So it helps with the budgeting and everything to always have one close. Now that I am out east, one of the things that I'm noticing, because I'm almost always in a city, I'm almost always in an urban area, being the attractions that I wanted to see were all city, were all beaches, every single one of them. So, but what happens is the city depletes me, and then being literally on the beach with my feet in the sand or with my feet in the water, that restores me and builds me up. And then I drive back to the Cracker Barrel and I hear the trains and the traffic and the people and the dump trucks at 3 a.m, the garbage trucks coming to empty the dumpsters at the restaurant where I am and everywhere around it, and it depletes me just a little bit at a time, and then every single day I have to make the little drive, which is maybe 10 or 15 miles, but depends on traffic how long it takes you. So maybe the 10 or 15 miles to get to the beach, I got to get my feet in the sand, I've got to get those sun rays, I've got to do all that to build myself back up. So I knew this trip for 2.5 weeks was going to be tough, because I wasn't going to be able to get away from people and away from the noise and all of that, and that can be stressful for me. I don't know if anybody else is with me on that, but it can. My big trip when I go January, February is going to be all BLM land once I get there, southwestern Arizona, but down in that area I'm going to have some quiet, I'm going to have some nature, I'm going to have some downtime and quiet. So with this, I knew to expect it, and I knew to kind of gear myself up and like mentally prepare for it. But it's challenging for me. I'll just say that. So nothing's all good or all bad. East versus west, it's not a competition. But so in 8.5 months, I've done almost exclusively all my time out west, and I'm doing 2.5 weeks out east. So I think that just kind of tells you where it is for me and where my priorities are and stuff like that. Everybody has their own. That's one of the things about van life that you figure out as you go, because if you had asked me before, I would have never, well, first of all, when I thought, I have 12 months to travel, I'll see the whole country. No. Then I really started to get into the reality of it and realized I could not do that, or if I could, it didn't appeal to me to do that. I didn't want to try to do the whole thing. So it is just too much. But anyway, not a competition, east, west. I'm loving the east right now, even though it does have its challenges just like anything. So thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching a video. And if you're still here, this is the end, and you do deserve a medal. I know that for sure. And if you tell me in the comments that you're still here, I will give you a little medal sticker. Anyway, thanks for being here. Catch you next time. Also, just another little side note. I tried so hard to shoot this video outside for you guys, so I wasn't just a talking head inside the van again. But it's either the wind or the traffic noise, one or the other. It's very hard where I am now to shoot a video outside, but I will try to do better and try to to do more of that, because I know it's better. It's nice when you have a nice little background to look at. You can see a little bit of niceness out the windows and stuff, but it's much better out there, and I would rather be out there than in here because, of course, because of the noise and everything, I have to keep the van locked up and closed, and it's warm where I am, so then it gets hot, so then I turn on the air conditioning. So then you have this situation where I'm in this gorgeous place. Well, I'm really like 20 feet from the gorgeousness, which is the beach. And, but there's a building, you know, between me and it, or I would show it to you right now. So I'm in this gorgeous place. The weather is perfect. The breeze is great. And I'm trapped inside of a hot van to record this silly video. I don't know. Life's crazy. Anyway, thanks for sticking around.